Hello, this is an unusual video for me because I'm filming it on my phone. This is a update one really, just for, well, it's very interesting if you're into homebrew and things like this, but it's more for those who attended our wild cider workshop. What day is it today? About a month ago. People who attend these workshops, and we'll be doing some more next year, we pick a load of wild apples, as in proper wild apples, things in the woods. We then take the time in the woods to press them, stick them through the, so we scrap them, we stick them through the juicer, we then end up, everyone takes home, I think it's a 2-litre bottle of juice by the looks of things. And because of wild yeast being everywhere, it's a sort of magical thing that happens. It all sort of ferments out. And in the same way that you can make elderflower champagne in this way, you know, that's the famous way of doing it. You do get some unpredictable results, but if you get it right, it works really well. Anyway, so a month on, people were advised to put their bottles on a radiator or in a warm place or something like this. And, well, I'm going to be very delicate with it, but this is what we are left with. Now, it might look like questionable coloured liquid. I couldn't produce that volume myself. But you can see, Wild Cider Workshop. We took, October 2022, we took a gravity reading. So the original gravity, OG, was 1.044. I'll explain the relevance of that a little bit later. But you can see what was a ridged bottle has expanded, and it is absolutely solid. So much so that the bottom has burst out. Now I'm going to show you what we do with burping these, and then I'm going to talk about what happens next. So what has happened? Well, the sugar in the apple juice is what ferments out to create cider, and indeed that's the case with all fermentation. Yeast, the yeast inside is wild, and this will have just been the natural bloom that falls on everything. You can see some of the sediment is sent to the bottom, but there's a bit floating around on the top. I don't know if you can make that out. There's a bit floating around on the top. The way that yeast works is it converts sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide is the waste product, if you like, but it is also what makes it carbonated. Now, famously, elderflower champagne bottles can explode, and that's just because people aren't responsible for burping them. Now, someone who attended the workshop got in touch with me and just say, we're burping ours every single day, and I realised I hadn't put this video out. But I've been burping mine every day. This was burped yesterday, twice, I think. And now it's getting to the stage where, yeah, realistically, you're going to want to do something with it, because burping it every day is impractical. So there are a few solutions. I might do a little cutaway, perhaps, if I can be bothered doing this. But basically, number one. That's what video editors do. First of all, the burping. So you can continue to burp it, and I'm only going to have to be able to do this once. So I'm going to bring you in close, and you're going to listen to me. Did you hear that hiss? So that is like, easy. That is like when you shake it. There you go. You can see all the yeast having a right old rumble around now as all the carbon dioxide tries to escape. Can you see in there? Basically, that is now, I've squashed it a little bit to give it some leeway to bulk in, but you can see how active it's now become. So that's your first option. You can continue to burp your bottle. Obviously, this is the pain in the arse way, basically. It's the labour intensive way. And even now, you can hear it. It's starting to go boom, boom, boom. We'll just, in fact, why don't I put that there? You'll be able to hear it. There's one. There we go. Well, that was all of them. But you get the idea. And now it's starting to firm up again. Can you see? Still a bit of give, but it will start to firm up. Now, you have to do this. If you don't do that, it will explode. And what you have to do is you have to try and calm it down. So this brings me on to option number 2. If you take this outside, where it's currently, I think it's probably about 7 or 8 degrees outside, maybe slightly colder than that, where I am in Manchester. The temperature of yeast, the optimum temperature is about body temperature. So, well, it does depend, but let's say it's about body temperature, maybe slightly less, so around 30 degrees. in that temperature, so room temperature that we're in now is I mean, we haven't had the heating on much because of the times that I had and all that, but it's warm in here. It's warm enough for this yeast to be very active. If you take it outside or pop it in a fridge, I just wouldn't lean it on its side too much. I think that would be a bit of a risk of explosion. If you take it outside into the cold, it won't make it dormant, but it'll slow the rate of yeast down a little bit. It'll chill it out a little bit more. And that's what you'd be aiming to do. Now, it would still require burping. It would still require some element of monitoring, again, on a daily basis or maybe every other day. But realistically, you really do want to be staying on top of this. It's just I appreciate not everyone wants to do this every single day. And actually, if you forget about it, there is a real chance of it exploding. So you do have to be careful. The big thing to do is take it away from a radiator or airing cupboard or anywhere warm that you put it. And that's very important. Cool. The next, so this is option number 3. So I'm going to take you on a little tour of my, where I currently sat. I'm currently sat in dining room. By the way, this has become solid again, so I'll address this again in a second. In my little dining room here, you can see we've got some other batches. Now what we've got, these are apples from my granny, apples from granny again, sea buckthorn wine, wine made from polytunnel grapes, as in the grapes that we grew in the garden. That's 2 demijohns of those, and a load more things bubbling away nicely down there. However, you can see on top of these ones, and indeed the vast majority of them, they've got these. Now, a quick close-up will show you what we have. These, hang on, professionalism, Jimbo, let's get out there. These are airlocks, and what they do is they allow all the gas to escape. Once they, in fact, there you go, you can see it bubbling away. Once they escape, the gas goes away, and this means this isn't a pressurized container. There's no air pressure in there at all. The bubbles, the reason this is called an airlock is because it allows the air out, but it doesn't allow it back in again if you leave the container sealed, which these are. So these are rubber bungs. You can get cork bungs. I don't have any on the go at the moment, but I have got some cork bungs. I must have about maybe 60 or so of these airlocks for various things. You can see we've got some down here. There's one as well. This one is an open fermentation, so I'm not playing with it too much, but these are all stuff. It would be fiddly to get one of these now and possibly not the quickest solution, but for any future stuff, one of these is probably the best thing. And what you do is you get them when they're like this, can you see? So it'd just be the single airlock. I'm not going to play with this too much because I don't want to disturb the brew itself. But as a single airlock, you could then, oh, look at that, magic. I actually didn't place that. Drill a hole in whatever vessel, or even just using a kitchen knife if you're safe enough with it, and put some sort of seal in there. Now, so often these things come with these seals already, and that's the ones you want to be looking for, because then you can put the airlock inside like this. You can see that this one came with a seal. You can put the airlock inside, and that's essentially what you do to your lid. So imagine a lid that sort of size. That's what you'd be looking for. Hang on, I can't get my angle right. There we go. That's what you'd be looking for. And then you put your airlock in, and it would bubble away, and that would be the safest thing. However, that's a bit fiddly for now, so I think probably not many people watching this, if anyone who even is watching this, will be doing that. But the long-term solution is definitely the airlock. So back to this one. So here are some solutions. Solution number 4 is if you can get it to be dormant outside. Let's say it's cooled off a little bit. The temperature, everything drops. That's a very good thing to do. Obviously, you don't want it to freeze, but that's a good way to make it dormant. If you can then gently tease the lid open, which I'm struggling with, but let's say you can. There you go. So mine is now sparkling pretty ferociously, but not enough for it to spill over the top. I'd say this is almost optimum drinking sparkle. It's probably a little bit feisty, given this is now the second burp of this, just within the 10 minutes of this video. It's a little bit feisty. So the bottom is potentially full of all that yeast, which is still really, really carbonating quite a lot. I like my cider a little bit flatter. I don't really like it when it's excessively sparkling, mainly just because it reminds me of being a teenager and, all that sort of association. And that's why cider gets a bit of a bad rep, because it's one of those first drinks we drink. So here's a solution. Now I have here a muslin cloth that has been sterilised. You can clearly see it's just a rag of some description. This would work with a tea towel, I guess, handkerchief or something like that. I'd avoid using something like a paper kitchen towel, just in case it does get wet. It'll become very soft. But basically anything where the air can escape and you won't get flies or debris falling in, anything like that. And quite simply, pop it over the top and get yourself a little elastic band. Now the bottom on this one has sort of fallen over a touch. And fix it in place. Now it does look particularly unglamorous as a thing, but this will still perform pretty much the same function. There's a little bit more of a risk of infection. This will perform the same function that the airlock does, in that all the bubbles are rising up, and I'm going to bring you in for a little close-up on that one. Can you see all those bubbles? Going mad. There we go. They're all bubbling to the top. I can hear them bubbling away, and again, it's just like you've opened a bottle of, some sort of soft drink. It will be bubbling away nicely. Now the difference is that with soft drinks, quite often they're force carbonated, which means that when they go flat, they are flat. That's it. That's them finished. However, because this is a live product and the yeast is going to continue to ferment out all the residual sugars in there, this will, and the idea would be that you have a choice. You either ferment it so it goes completely flat, stick the lid back on. You'd probably have to drink that quite quickly. Treat it like you would a cask beer, so you have to drink that relatively young. Alternatively, if you catch it whilst it's still sort of active, there's still a little bit going on, get that lid back on. Yes, it will become firm again. As you can see, this is nice and soft. Once it's become firm again, that means that the carbon dioxide that's trying to escape actually can't escape because the pressure's built up too much, and that's when the carbonation happens again. And that's actually how all traditional carbonation in bottles happens, real ale or otherwise. So I can hear this bubbling away nicely. Now, because I know that this gets burped daily, I'm actually not going to leave mine like this, but for the purposes of you guys at home, for the people who have attended the workshops, or if you just want to go and turn some apple juice into some cider, this is the thing to do. So there you go. This is how to look after your wild cider batch. If you are interested in how to do this, it would be remiss of me to not mention that we will be doing several of these workshops next autumn. They were very popular last year and this year. I really love doing them. My life is all about brewing and ciders and things like this. And if I could do it with wild ingredients, it's even better. So 12 minutes of me yapping into a camera, I'm afraid. Maybe there'll be some cutaways to something a bit more interesting. One of these days I plan to show you around my bar, as in the bar, all the bottles that we've got, and I'd love to show you all the homebrew bottles. I meant to have a bit of a homebrew clear out, but I'm not drinking at the moment. So when that ends, when I'm back on the wagon or off the wagon or whatever the expression is, I will be finding the demons at the back of the drinks cupboard and seeing what monsters are hiding there. And maybe we can have a little online homebrew party. As tedious as that might sound, we can at least have a chat, and maybe you can watch a sad dad deteriorate as he gets merrier and merrier. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've actually gained something from this video, particularly those who attended the workshop, the cider workshop. Please don't pour it down the sink if you think that something's gone wrong or anything like that. Do get in touch with me. Let me know how it's getting on. It was really good to hear from, I'll keep you anonymous, but it's really good to hear from the person who attended. And yeah, the whole point of this is to end up with a nice bottle of cider that you picked, you made, you've loved and nourished and taken care of. You can drink it fresh, you could drink it this Christmas, but I plan on leaving this one probably not until next year's. Maybe next year's cider workshop, who knows, let's see. I did have another bottle, I completely forgot about it. That one did explode. Fortunately, it exploded in my hand when I was burping it outside. But it just shows you do have to be careful with them. Cool, so I'm signing out. Head to the channel and all that stuff. I'm not going to prattle on too much about that. I think 15 minutes is long enough. And yeah, take care guys. Toorah.